Go. All right. Welcome back to the Evolution with Mac and Jenn podcast. I am Jen here, and this is Mac.
Yep.
And today we're going to talk about removing what we're calling victims from our lives. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are we gonna talk about today, Mac?
Yeah. Basically, as you go through life and you begin to change things and you level up, there will be people that it's almost like they're there to test you to see if you're for real. Right. Like, are you really ready? Are you really going to move up? Are you really going to do this? And they begin to test the boundaries that you kind of have placed or the move you move into. And it's also a principle of letting go. Right. If you want to grow, not everyone's going to grow with you, and you're going to have to let some people go, not necessarily to abandon them. Some you may not, but there will be a boundary that must be set in order for you to succeed, for you to take that jump, to move forward into bigger, better things. So yeah, it's in a sense though, usually what happens is these people will remove themselves with some kind of a victim or blaming stance. Oh, you think you're too good. Like you quit drinking. Oh, you're no fun anymore. Right. And it's like, and it's hard. They challenge you. They challenge your resolve. They will hit you where you're emotionally struggling to like, well, I'm not trying to leave anybody. I still want to do these things, but I don't want to do that anymore. Right. I don't want to stay in that place anymore. I don't want to continue drinking. I don't want to continue smoking. I don't want to have a bottom feeder mindset. I don't want to be a loser. Like I don't want these things. Like I want to change. I want to see the world differently. I want to love more. I want to have more joy. I want to be more successful. I want to make more money. And people will create stories, whether you like it or not. So
I think that a lot of times when you are just like going through life, right? You're just going through life, and all of a sudden there comes a moment in life where you feel like you want more. And when you feel like you want more, you go to your friends and your family, your circle, right? Your people, and you start telling them all the things that you want and things that inspire you and how you want to grow. You want to maybe travel the world or start a business, or you have all these dreams, you want more. And people typically will tell you your dreams are too big, or they will try to pull you down. It'll feel like they're trying to pull you down because I feel like in a sense they're trying to protect you.
yeah.
But in order for any of us to have dreams and then actually follow those dreams, the key is you have to let go sometimes of people that will pull you down for you to level up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You make a decision to like take a leap or do something different. And first thing you do is you try and tell everybody else about it. And they're going to do one of two things: try to protect you and tell you, oh no, you shouldn't do that because it's going to cause this, or this, right? Like they're going to, rather than actually support, because they just don't understand how that works unless they're from typically and like an elite or some successful family, in which cases if you look at them for the example that says, hey, how come their kids are excelling, how come everybody around them excels, and what you'll see is that they just support each other. Even if somebody makes a mistake, it's like, hey man, it's okay, just keep going, keep moving, keep doing this, keep going. And they're not in there offering advice at every corner of like, oh, I don't think you should do that. Now if somebody goes to them and asks advice, they give them solid advice based on what they've already done, not based on what they think. And a lot of times on the side, if you go up against a defense or somebody thinking they're doing you a favor, typically what happens is those are the people that will give advice when they don't have the results themselves. It's like they give relationship advice, but then bitch about their significant other. It's like, why would I listen to you again? Like, it's not really a good idea. So there's that piece. The second piece is that they're trying to justify their position. And this is the one that usually kind of ends the conversation. If you're going to continue on without them, they will justify their position by turning you into an asshole. Like let me give an example. There's a guy that messages Jen all the time. And she just finally goes, man, this guy just drains my energy. It's like, well, for whatever reason, it's just kind of like draining. And so I grab it and I start messaging, and I said, hey man, if you want something, this is what you need to do. Gave him some solid, straightforward, the truth. And that's just how I am. And he came back with like, oh no, that's not what I mean. I'm blah 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 blah. And he makes excuses, all this sling of excuses. And so instantly I'm thinking, this guy is uncoachable, because every suggestion or advice or anything gets responded back with an excuse, which means you're not ready. Okay, like that's just it's not something where I got to be judgmental about it. It's just like, hey, if you're not going to take my advice as a coach, then I'm not going to coach you, because you're wasting both of our time. You're not taking the advice. You're going to sit there and tell me a story of how I don't understand your position or your situation. I'm like, dude, like what you're talking about is so insignificant to the shit that I've been through. It's a joke. Like it's just pathetic. So I come back and go, hey, you know what? This probably isn't a good fit for you, because I demand results. I demand changes. I demand this. And you have to listen to a coach if you're going to actually, if you truly want to be coached. And it was instantly like, oh, this is exactly what I expected from any other coach, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and now you have permission to hate me and point the finger at me and run away. And guess what? I don't care. And that's part of the process. Like this was an extreme of saying, we're gonna split boundaries right here. Okay. Like we're just gonna go in different directions. I hit him with two messages that quantified that he was not ready to be coached. He was not a good fit. And my third message was, you're not a fit. Have a nice day. And then blocked him. And it was done. No hard feelings, but it's just like, obviously not going to be able to help him. Right. Like, so it's just like, see ya, move along. Now,
With that one, I've had a kind of a long history with this person, just sending me like very long messages, like message after message after message, wanting either like coaching or some type of inspiration or encouragement, however he would word what he was asking me for. And he would send me like a long, long paragraph, and then right after another long paragraph. And before I didn't even have a chance to respond to the first one, he'd already be sending me the next one. And like every time I would talk to him, it was just like my energy was just drained. And, I'd offer him some sort of like, well, I would also, because my energy would be so drained, a lot of times I wouldn't even open his message for days, because I'd see it in there and I would look at his name and I would just know what was coming. And like my energy, didn't have the energy for it. And he would be like, I would tell him, I get the reason it takes me so long is because I give first priority to my clients. And then his response was, well, you only will talk. Is it true that, or it feels like you only want to talk to people that pay you? You're only looking for money. And that's not really the case, but it kind of is in a sense, because it's like, for me to give so much of my energy, like I was telling Mac the other day, like it's an energy exchange. So like you pay for the time, you pay for the energy. A lot of times you pay for, and this guy was just always trying to, I feel like, take my energy, and never really like, and one time I gave him some advice and we had a conversation. And at the end, I was like, if you want to continue this, we can schedule a call. And he responded with, I've got everything I need here. Thank you. And I was
and then
like,
probably didn't even use it. So
I don't know, but he
yeah,
just like, and then I was like, okay. And after an hour of just draining me, basically, and I even told him like, stop sending me so many long messages back to back. Like you're not even giving me time to respond. And he said, well, I'm speaking into my thing. So, it was easier for him to say the long messages. And it was just like, it was just long chaos, energy draining. And so when he messaged the other day, I looked at it and I was like, I didn't even open the message. I was like, oh God, here we go. And like, I didn't want to even open it because I knew if I did, it was just going to be another paragraphs for me to go through and dissect and then try to respond. And I mean, how many messages did he send? It was like 3 or 4, like boom,
At
boom,
least.
boom. And it's like, it's so hard to respond to that when it's like, like, let's just set up a call. But then he thinks I sometimes setting up a call means pay, but it's like,
Which it should mean. Like technically it did, like it should mean. If you can't really call yourself a professional coach if you're not getting paid. Likewise, if you really want someone's time, that is their business and like what they do, if you're unwilling to pay for it, then you don't value it. You could say you do, but the money is the one thing that quantifies that thing. It would be like, this guy was let's just say some type of musician, and it'd be like, okay, well, you come play for me for a gig for a night, just because I want you to. Like, I'm not going to pay you because, like, but I value you, but you have to do it for free. It's like, would you do that? No, nobody would do that. Now he might say, well, I play for free all the time. Yeah, but not when it's a structured thing. Not if I'm requesting a band to show up for my thing. Do you think it would be right? No, that wouldn't be right. Like, that's not
the
acceptable.
problem with giving to people so freely is that when you people see you're good at something and they think because you're good at it you can just give it out so freely. But the problem with giving so freely is that you're giving all your energy, and so you're not able to give to the ones that are actually returning the energy in an exchange,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like most of us, because we're good at something, like it maybe you're good at I don't know, maybe you're good at mechanic stuff,
Yeah.
and people know that, so they just call you for mechanic stuff all the time, but they're like, they don't want to pay because they know you're good at it. You're like, I'm good at
Yeah.
it, so I just do it for them. No, and I don't ask for money. But it's like a lot of times I think we get into these traps where we start giving, 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 and all of a sudden we're so drained, we feel so unappreciated, and all these things, and then it kind of ruins us, and so it's like it took me a long time to actually be like, no, like I need to set a boundary here and hold a standard where it's
Mhm.
like I can only give so much until I have to make sure I'm full too, right? And
Yeah.
so with this particular person, when he messaged, it was like, and are we telling the story, or what are we
Yeah. I mean,
doing?
it essentially,
When he messaged, he wanted um into our membership, but he wanted to barter for it. And which is fine. Like I will say, like, there's certain times maybe, but like with this particular one, because of I know his beliefs about coaches, I know how much energy he takes. It's like for me to and he wanted to barter things that we didn't really
well, it
want.
like literally to barter with him, is like, yeah, I mean, I could see what you're saying. It's a potential thing here. But in order for me to even do what you're saying would take energy that I don't have. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy to do it. And so, just replied and said, um, this isn't something that is going to work because it would take time from us to even do it. So what I suggest you do is go like watch podcasts. Like, we give a lot of free information. She's on Facebook all the time. Just stay plugged into that. Go figure out how to make some money and join the membership, or maybe hit us back up in a few months and maybe we'll be in a different position.
And that
And
message turned into a response from him that was just another energy draining
yeah, you
response.
don't
And it was
understand
just
me. No, I dude, you're broke.
It was too much, and it was a back and forth, and finally it ended up in just, Max saying, "Have a nice day," and blocking him, which is totally fine for me because, like, there's been many times in the past where, like, I wanted to block him, but didn't, and I don't really know why. Maybe it was just because I was trying to, like, I feel like I wanted to maybe help or do something, but it was like, but every time he messaged me, like, it was just too much every single time. Victim, complaining stories, like anything I would say, honestly, I felt like he wasn't listening. He wasn't
Oh, because
open.
no,
And so it was like I would go on, I would tell him things for, 30 minutes, an hour, maybe 2 hours some days, back and forth, these long messages. And it was like nothing was getting to him. And it was just draining. It was just draining, draining, draining. And so, and I've told him in the past, like, I can't. Like, if you want to talk, let's schedule a call. It's so much easier sometimes. And it was just awful. So,
mm,
so he got
yeah,
blocked. Energy draining, and it's totally fine. Um,
yeah, it wasn't a fit. And so when the reason we're bringing this up, right, is we've been watching this happen a lot especially the last 2 3 weeks, month, where it's just that everything is shifting, and as you grow, you start to lose people, and when they start to go away, when they start to leave, they don't go nicely, right? Like they go aggressively, they turn you into an asshole, and then they point the finger at you as the problem, and they run away. And part of growth means you have to accept that, right? Like it's one of those things that's very hard and very challenging, and it's that test, almost like from the universe, to be like, are you sure, are you sure? And it forces you to have an emotional strength that is much different than the rest of the world. And if you go to a small town, a lot of people there will say things about so and so. They'll like gossip and rumors. Oh, it must be nice to have all that. Oh, it must be this, and they treat the most successful people like they're jerks or something. And they've got these stories in their mind that are like, where they think that these people look down on them, right? And it's because they're stuck in their stories. Now, this guy, I don't look down on him. It was a little bit annoying of what was happening, but really, I pity his situation. Like a client that I had to kind of let go, that I was very close with, care a lot for, but was stuck in the stories. Like, what wouldn't even, like, the requirement was, hey, if you want to stay here, because this is like a free client for almost 2 years, and I'm like, and I'm just trying to help, and she was always grateful. But then I was like, you can't continue this. Like, your results suck. There's no reason. If I can't get you the results, I'll just take the blame as not doing my job, and you need to go. Or what you can do is you could submit a resume. If you submit a resume, you can stay plugged into these people that love you and me and everything else. Wouldn't do it. And it's like, that's pretty obvious where that lies. Now, in her mind, I don't appreciate the results she has, but they're not quantifiable. And I'm like, that you can't have a story that says, oh, I feel better today than yesterday, but then tomorrow you feel worse. So then the next day you get to feel better again. It's like, those are results. That's a circulating problem that I don't want any part to do with. And so, like, you go your way, you'll find enough pain, or you won't. You'll just live miserable, or you'll find enough pain that you actually wake up and realize that the only common denominator in your life is you.
I think also too, like, and I don't know, maybe this could be a coach for coaches or something, but it's like when you first start as a coach, I feel like all of us start with a bunch of free clients, right?
Typically, yeah,
Yeah.
somewhat.
I mean, a lot of times, like, at least for me, I feel like it started out as a hobby.
Yeah, I mean, I was testing coaching on people in a bar.
And so,
That's
like,
that's
so it starts off with free clients, and then there comes to a point where, like, you have to say, okay, I'm going to start charging. And that can be a little scary because it's like, oh, like, now I have to ask for something. But it's like, as you get better, you grow into more, you need to start charging up so you can give to the people like you want to. Because I can't, if I take on 10 free clients and that's taking up all my time, and I, I still have bills to pay, like things to do, right? And I can't give to them if I'm not taken care of, right? So then we say, okay, we're going to charge a little, right? And then, and as you grow, you just, as you get better and what you do requires more energy. It's like you up level by raising your prices. And sometimes as you raise, you have to let clients and people go that aren't keeping up with it or seeing the value or
And some of them leave graciously. They're like, "Hey, I appreciate everything you've done. I know I can't pay you right now, but thank you so much." And they like pour in, and it makes you want to keep helping them, right? But you're like, "Hey, I stick around. I want to help you. We may not be able to do it as much, but check in once in a while because like, thank you so much." And we're like super, like our energy pours into them instead of being like, "Wow, this person's an ass." The person that's like, "Oh yeah, you just want to make money," and they run away. It's like, what a dick, so.
and as people see you growing, then or see you getting better, they see what you're doing, they want to be a part of it, they want it. But a lot of times, and then that's when they come to you and they're like, well, can I just like talk to you, can we just do it, and it's like a couple times, a couple calls, but like after so long you have to pay for the energy, right? Or for the coaching. I call it the energy because it's like coaching takes a lot of energy.
Mhm.
But it's like, I mean, but even look at so I think for a lot of us, like as we level up, it gets a little harder because we have to start letting some of the people go that that aren't exchanging. It doesn't feel like an exchange. I mean, because like if you look at, say, like Tony Robbins, I'm not sure how much he charges for like an hour for like a one-on-one, but I imagine it's like $1 million.
I I think that was 4 years ago. I heard like a session with Tony was $1 million, and there was a waiting list.
But nobody's gonna go to Tony and be like, hey Tony, like, can I just have like an hour of your time?
Yeah.
Like, because we value and respect his time, and like, and so Tony Robbins kind of holds a standard, and like, I mean, it just is what it is. But in the beginning, Tony Robbins was coaching people in people's houses, doing events in houses. So it's like as you level up, but it's like you just take on a different clients, I guess. So you have to.
Yeah, and it's not just it's not just clients, right? Like it's in life you begin to change. I mean, even my little sister, um, a lot of people would have a challenge with this, where and let me phrase this. I'm one of 11 kids, so it's more like a community. Okay, so you've got all your siblings, and then one of them's over here instigating stuff, and you want to correct them. Like that would be the normal impulse for people to be like, no, 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 they're, and you'd be calling the other siblings, what'd she say about me? What's this? And like getting enrolled in this crazy thing. Whereas like the higher up you go, the more you're just like, people are just going to do what they do. Like, I don't need to worry about it. I still wish the best for her. Like, even if she like talks a bunch of stuff, spreads rumors, gossips, anything else, I'm like, I pity her. It doesn't affect me. Like there's even to a point where I don't know, my ex-wife could be saying stuff about me. Do I care? Not really. It doesn't affect me. Okay. There's like, as you move up, your emotional strength to let people go, regardless of what they say, is the key factor. And again, like, same example goes into like people going through a divorce. Well, what's he saying about me? What's she saying about me? If you get caught up in that story, then what you do is you begin to battle, and then you wind up in divorce court, and then it's called an ugly divorce, right?
I have a lot to say about divorce.
Yeah, that's probably a whole nother, maybe that should be our next podcast. Is we'll because we coach a lot of people with it. We've both been through it. The one thing about both of us going through it was that we very quickly made decisions of what we wanted as an outcome, and then moved. And when the other person tried to take or tried to go against us, we just continued to hold. No, we can create what we want, because we're not relying on us or them. We're relying on God to bring us what is right.
I think a lot of times, like knowing what you want and how you want to feel is
Yeah,
literally number one,
it
because
has to be.
I know personally that my energy is important. And
Mhm.
this is why I know that people that drain it, or people that are takers, and you'll know a taker when you see one, right? You'll feel it.
Yeah, you feel
I know that I don't want to feel drained. I just don't. I want to feel full. I want to feel valued. I want to feel, appreciated and loved. And I just know that if I give my energy, I'm using the finger here. If I give my energy too much to takers, and allow, people that just aren't i- in too much, I'm not going to feel how I want to feel. And so I value my energy, and I value my I mean, my energy is like literally the most important thing. So if I'm with people that are draining too much of it, like I just either cut them out or set some boundaries, and I keep moving forward and finding people who fill me up more than take.
yeah.
I don't
Um,
know.
one of the, there's some things to look at if you're dealing with a boundary type issue. If you find yourself continuing to get into the argument of this person that is like you're trying to explain it to them, you'll watch this a lot in sales where somebody's trying to sell something and they won't give it up, right? Like they just keep, it's like needing to be right. Needing to be right is a source of significance. So like if you need significance, then it begs the question of saying, are you emotionally full? Like are you framing things correctly so that you can see that this relationship that you have is not the best for you to be in, and regardless of what anyone says or does, it has no reflection on you, right? And so if you seek your significance from outside sources, you'll never be able to set these boundaries properly. You have to set the boundary internally, and the significance ultimately for me goes to God.
Yeah, like the gentleman that was in the inbox who was wanting to barter was saying some untrue things, and not letting those things affect us does take a level of growth.
Yeah.
Because in the past, had somebody come to me with a bunch of stories about me, that weren't necessarily true, but
Yeah, you'd be like, no, 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 I'm that's not like I'm trying, and until they enroll you into helping, and then they don't listen to anything because they've always got a story and an excuse of why not, and then you feel like you're a shitty coach.
there was one lady who, I used to sell makeup, and this was like in the beginning of my journey of like becoming the more confident version of me, and like, but I used to sell makeup, and I recommended a lipstick color to her, and the lipstick color I recommended was called, do you remember this?
I remember you talking about it, but
It was called, oh, I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't called, like, the lipsticks were like Conceited, or it was something like that. So let's just say it was a bright pink lipstick and it was called Conceited. And I was like, "Oh, you should get Conceited. Like it would be perfect." And she thought I was calling her conceited.
hmm,
It was a total like miss whatever. And I was like, "No, like I'm not."
triggered.
And she's like, I'm not the conceited one. You're the conceited one. And she sent me paragraphs and paragraphs about how I am.
And there's no reversing that when somebody does that.
She was
Like
awful, so mean to me. And I was like,
you just hit block.
well, at the time, I wasn't so, blocky. It was more like I crawled into bed and was depressed for 4 days
Hmm.
because, like,
Because of some insecure bitch,
yes, because
essentially.
of what she was coming back at me with. Totally, I was totally misunderstood. I wasn't calling her conceited. I just thought the pink would look really good on her because she just had she was all for it. But she was like, "No, you're the conceited one, and you're this, and you're that, and you're this, and you're that." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm not." And I cried in bed for 4 days, and I almost gave up on even selling makeup or all of that, because I was like, I don't, this
But
sucks.
but it was a test, right? Like it's
It
like
was definitely a
you
test.
know it's like the universe. Like I'm gonna raise my vibration. I'm going to raise my energy. I'm going to go make more money. I'm going to be more successful. And it's just like, I'm going to quit smoking. And then everybody pisses you off until they put you back where you belong, or whatever. And so for you, that was something that was like, why did that have such an effect? Did it need to? Is it true? No. Like there's no validation to it. What's true is that some insecure woman heard something different, became triggered. You tried to correct her trigger, which is impossible when somebody gets triggered. It's a very, very narcissistic behavior of when someone gives you something, whether even if it was actual critical feedback, even if it was, not being able to take it and then point the finger at them instantly. That's like a tendency of that nature. And so, but once you kind of like learn it and get to here, you just set the boundary and be like, you know what, it doesn't matter.
Because now I understand that, like, those were all stories, but it's like, I don't have the energy. I was going to say energy again. I don't have the energy. Once I see that somebody is, got their stories and they are triggered, and like that's giving them a lot of certainty, like it's almost like I don't have the energy to try to change their perception now. It's like, it's just, I'm not going to argue with you. And that's a lot of times what it turns into, is a back and forth. Well, I'm not this and no, I'm not that and you're this, and it goes back and forth, and it's like, no, no, like I'm just gonna,
Just take a deep breath.
you know,
Block.
like that's what it is now. Now it's just block, because it's like,
Yeah.
who cares anymore? And a lot of times, especially nowadays, I hate to say too, but it's like a lot of the people we're dealing with are online.
Mm.
And I have formed very close relationships with people online. Like all my best friends, I think these days, all my friends are from online. But a lot of times, like it's just different. It's like people will come at you, and it's, you want to love everybody and respect everybody and be for everybody, but if somebody is coming at you like, I don't have time for this, I'm just gonna, like, we're done, and that's
Yeah.
it.
And
And it's like, and then it's like, you just stop caring so much, because it's like, clearly we're not aligned, or we're not a good fit for each other anyway, so like, let's just do us both a favor, just end it and move on. um some people that are closer, like family and stuff like that, it's a little bit more difficult, but that's why when you just get to like set boundaries, and that's why knowing what you want though is so important, and how you want to feel and where you're going. That's why nobody can say anything that will stop you, because you know what you want. Like that lady, she put me in bed for 4 days,
mm,
but like luckily my desire was so strong that I, got back up and kept moving forward, and here we are today, and I'm so grateful, because I mean, who knows where I would be today if I would have given up on any dreams, because
or even continued trying to enroll her and stayed there,
right.
which probably would have been worse than giving up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the recently same scenario with my sister where I just was like, you're like, there's no reason here. She said, could you be less aggressive? And I was like, no, because I care too much. Like, that's just the honest truth. Like, and I don't think I was being overly aggressive. I was just, I'm opinionated. I stated my opinion and be like, well, could you be aggressive, less aggressive, because so and so would really. And so she's using someone else, being like, I'm offending someone else, not her, but she's just trying to present, because what she needs is, she needs a reason to run away. And I said, no, because I care too much. And she says, oh, I can't take this anymore. Like, sorry, everybody, but Mac's just too big of an asshole. Like, I'm out. Sorry that because of him that I can't be here. It's like, oh my, like, okay, bye. And this time I held a little different frame. I told all my siblings, I'm like, you need to tell her she's wrong, like, because that's the truth. But I don't really care either way. But do her a favor and don't go along with the bullshit. Just let it go. Let her be. If she wants to be it, it's okay, whatever. But this conversation just isn't about necessarily cutting people out of your life, because what if you're in a situation of like that divorce situation where you've got kids and you have to be in and out. I'll give you this as we kind of wrap it up. That this is always going to be like kind of a very simple go-to. You remove yourself from the situation, and you say, with everything that I know now in my life, who I am, what I'm about, and everything else, like if I was to be above all, like if I could see everything that was happening, the crazy me, the crazy ex, the crazy sibling, the crazy client, the whatever, if I'm up here and I get to go through my life and start handpicking and choosing what I want, would I choose it? So if I got a client that's a total pain in the ass and I can see that this person is a pain in the ass, but I get to re choose my team, would I choose them? And if it's like, oh, hell no, you don't need to continue a conversation. You don't need to justify your position. You don't need to. You just need to walk the fuck away. Straight up. Just be like, you know what? There's a billions of other people on the planet. This person is possibly blocking me from receiving three good people because that's how much energy they're pulling from me. Remember, like there's a saying of, if you love what you do, you'll like, that's when you'll make the most money, you'll do everything, whatever. If you don't love your client, then don't be there. If you don't love your family, don't be there. Like, blood is not thicker than water, bullshit, anything else, right?
Or a relationship.
Or relationship,
Don't
you
be
know.
there.
Yeah, just be like, you know what, this is not the right thing. Like, it's just not. And even with the slightly different dynamic with the co-parenting type of thing, where you begin to get triggered against each other, and you have to kind of go high level and look at this and be like, if I was 100% content with myself, not with them, with myself, if I was just like, my life was golden, it was amazing, would I be needing to get aggressive in this conversation? Would I be needing to be like, oh, quit lying about me, quit saying this about me, quit doing this, or you're the problem, right? Would I need to do that? If my life is perfect, do I need to even care? Like, yes, I need to care, but not that much. Like, why would I extinguish more energy into something that's not going to have a return of my time? Like, what? It just doesn't make sense. So the quick thing to do is just go high level, look at the situation and say, would I choose this with what I know now? And if the answer is no, just be content, be loving, and move. That now, moving might be block, it might be setting a boundary, it might be like, you know what, I appreciate, actually, in fact, I'll give you this. It's been well over a year since I got divorced, a year and a half about, and my stepdaughter just won state volleyball. And
Cheer.
why did I say volleyball?
I don't know.
I don't even know, like, she doesn't even play, like,
Like nobody
something in
we
my
know
mind
plays
there.
volleyball,
No,
but
so thank goodness you're here, because my dyslexia kicks in sometimes.
it's okay.
But
I got
anyway,
you.
um my ex came up and actually, like, just said, hey, I'm so grateful for what you've done to help get everything to here and whatever, and and I was like, yeah, I'm equally as grateful to you for that thing. Now, we don't talk, right? I don't know what's been said or anything, but truly, from like all sides, everything, if I go high level and I look at how I want things to be, I look at this and I say, you know what, I just want everybody to be in such a state that if we were to have like Christmas, like all the different families and people and everybody, like everybody could come in, um, have a good time, be centered around God, and just be like, excited about where everybody's at, right? And like, want to know and be like, hey, how's it going, and this, that. And even if I think it's crazy, right, even if I'm like, you're crazy, like, I'm gonna still be like, you, but you love it, like, you're super, yeah, it's this, it's that. It's like, okay, like, good for you, like, rock on, let's, like, what's next, like, that's the vision that I look for. So if I'm looking for that, I'm going to behave in such a way that continues that. And it takes time. I was like, I wanted to blame, right? Like, there's still even a shred of me that's kind of like, don't do it. Like, it's not like, just let it go. Like, you don't even know who she is anymore. It's been a year and a half, could be completely different person. And we got to interact. And I was like, like, hey, like, I appreciate you too. I'm grateful for you, what you've done. Like, and like, are you happy? And she's like, yeah, I can tell you guys are happy. And just be like, good. That's all that matters. I'm glad you're happy, and just like, and that was the interaction. It was beautiful. There's God's hand in that completely. So, but there is also a boundary. that it's like, we don't, we're not going to communicate on a certain level, maybe later, but right now there's just some boundaries that are intact, and it's a healthy thing to keep things going. And like, I'm focused here, she's focused there, and it works. And so,
Yeah, it was so good. I think one thing remembering too is like if you and your ex agreed on everything, and if your ex behaved in the way that you wanted them to,
wouldn't be that.
you'd still be married,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, I don't know why when we get divorced, we all of a sudden assume that people are
Mhm.
going to behave and act a certain way. It's like, no, like you divorce if you'd still be married if you guys were aligned and had the same values and
We're gonna have to do a divorce talk on this, like, next podcast, probably.
we definitely will because it's for me it's about and learning again learning to love what is
Hmm.
and knowing what you want like you want I also envision Christmases and holidays and things where like we're all together
Yep.
everybody my ex your ex I don't care like we're all there we're all loving the kids and we're all celebrating each other because one of the things we all do have in common is that we all you know like are now getting to create lives that we like truly love like be more intentional about it and it's kind of like a second chance right and so just celebrating like the fact that like we all did something that was really hard we all went through a divorce we're all co-parenting and like where are we all going like oh my god you're doing this like that's so cool wow and like
Mhm.
but like I think we want to just to create a life that we love a life that is has peace and joy and love and where the kids are happy and everybody's just good and so behave I like how you said showing up behaving a certain way to
Mhm.
create what you want is a big part when it comes to divorcing and getting out of your
Well, and
stories and
even comes down to family, friendships, clients,
all of it,
all of it.
family, friendships, like even with, I don't want to, I know we want to end this pretty soon, but it's like even with my family, with my brother, with my mom, with my dad, it's like we don't always agree on everything, but like, but I value our relationship. So sometimes I'm gonna let go of my beliefs and my stories and how I think things should be just to prove myself right rather than rather than get arguing my point to the point where now we're not together anymore because I want those relationships. If they drain me, yes, I set boundaries, but it's like I value the relationship. I would love to have some sort of relationship with your ex and be able to create all of that. And I think we're on the right path.
Hopefully.
No, we are.
So I'm gonna end it with this.
Maybe not
And
tomorrow, but like,
yeah,
we're moving forward. I see
mm,
it. Like that was a huge step.
yeah. One thing that I'll say that kind of will wrap this up in a sense of like, we're truly not against anyone. We're for everyone. And with that being said, even the people that have like said some stupid shit and acted in a bad way or gotten blocked or ran themselves off or whatever, just as soon as those people are actually ready to like submit to the truth of like letting go, of saying, I'm sick and tired, I'll do anything, what does it take, like, I don't care what, like, if you hit that point, neither one of us are going to give two shits about what was said in the past. Like, you could run off and be like, oh, they're just takers, complete assholes, this and that, blah, 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 all these different things. Now, obviously, if you talked a lot of shit and spread gossip and rumors, there's going to need to be somewhat of a like, hey, okay, you're ready. Like, I just need a quick apology or recognition that you understand what you did was incorrect, right? Like, and if that is there, if the genuinely that is there, like, it's like, okay, like, if I can feel that there's a genuine, like, repentance, I guess, of that, in a sense of just like, a yeah, I was just angry, like, I don't care, I know I need help, please, whatever, and it's genuine, like that, it's done.
Because that's the thing. It's like we're not gonna try, trying to help somebody or work with somebody or coach somebody or anything who's not open, who's not ready, it's not worth the energy from us.
Yeah.
And so, but the moment that somebody is actually open,
Yeah.
then it's like game on, let's do
Yeah. It's
this,
like
because then it's
100%
like
like I'll forget everything.
everything, because it's like they're ready, we're ready, and a lot of people in my life are not ready
Mhm.
yet.
Mhm.
But my goal, my job, I believe, is to just keep setting the example, keep loving everybody no matter where they're at, without judgment, really, and just keep moving forward. And then when somebody is ready and open, and then they come and they say, "Please help me. I know I didn't get it before, but I get it now and I want to know." Right?
Mhm.
Then once they're open, it's like, "Okay, game on. Let's
Mhm.
do this. You're ready now."
Yeah.
But until they're ready, it's going to be a battle and a
Yeah. Just no
fight.
point.
And that's where
Just get away.
where it's like, I don't have the energy for this. And as much as I love and care about everybody, like I love and care about me first and my
Mhm.
energy. And that way, if I don't protect that, then I can't give to everybody in the way that I want to. And I would kind of expect the same from you too. It's like, you've got to take care of you so you can show up for your people as your best you. If you're not taking care of you and your energy, then it's like a drained version of you. Nobody wants that.
Yeah. And we do have people that we take care of for free. Like it does happen.
Like my son.
Um, yeah. So, but like there's some clients where their situation was just such where it was like, "Oh, man, I'm just gonna help them."
Yeah,
Um,
but those ones of the free ones, like the
they're
ones that
grateful.
come to us, they're grateful, they're open, they're
Mm.
eager, they want to grow, they want to learn more, like they want it so bad, and it's like they make it easy to work with them.
Well, and I also want to give props to the people that do pay, right? Because like when the people that do pay and they see the value, even though some people can't all the time, and they're just in a situation they want to pay, but they just can't. Now, I I I I eventually set up boundaries to where it's like, okay, we've been here. If I'm any good at what I do, you'll start making some money, and you can start paying a little bit, a little more, a little more, a little more. Like because then they feel this that like when you start doing that, you feel better about you too, right? So by paying, you feel better, but also a recognition to the people that do pay, because you're helping, you're assisting with that giving to everybody else, right? Like, one of the things I've always wanted to do was kind of, and I'm setting this up as we go, but I always want to be able to, if I do like a group program, at least fully sponsor one person in, right? Like somebody that just literally is in that situation where they genuinely need it, they know they need it, but they cannot pay for it. And then have enough other money coming in to where it's like this person is going to get sponsored in because nobody wants to be in that situation. Nobody, none of us want to be in that situation. And so it's a gift to be able to give back. And so I still have a lot of gratitude for those people that are willing to give, right? Like the more you give, the more you're going to get back. So thank you to those people.
If you look at like Tony Robbins again, like yeah, he charges, let's say, $1 million for an hour,
Mhm.
but like he also, because he does that, he gets to feed 4 billion families,
Yeah.
with that. So it's like a lot of times, again, it's like if Tony didn't charge what he charges, he couldn't make the impact that he does in the world. So
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Or grow and impact, like gets reached more people and do different things and all those different things. So
Hmm.
awesome. All right. Well, I think we should
Yeah.
wrap it up at that. We've gone over a lot of different things, some little stories there.
I feel like we started this podcast as with one topic and went off on a couple tangents, but it was really good, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's relevant to, people changing. And as more people come in, they need to understand the dynamics of what's going to happen, how to look at it, how to hold space yourself, the emotional strength you're going through. You might be going through a situation where you're looking at it saying, why do I have to go through this? Well, kind of like the story she had where she laid in bed for 4 days to gain the strength, right? Like you can't build muscle without fatiguing it. And so it's just a simple, just understand that God is providing a way, keep going, do things different. If you want things to change, you're going to have to change things in your life, and kind of trust the process and go through it. But obviously, we just want what's best for everybody, but we will not enable people to maintain the victimhood, or to enable them to take energy when it's inappropriate, or they're not giving back in exchange. It's just not going to work. So love you guys. We'll maybe we'll do the next one on how to
Divorce.
handle the divorce, how to co-parent, how to do all these different things, and the craziness of it from each perspective, like step parent, um, guy, girl, like there's a lot of different dynamics happening here. So, all right, we will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day.